Hey guys, it's Turkey Wolf again. This is going to be a review of the movie Paranormal Activity: The Marked Ones. Just like with my 300 Rise of an Empire, I rented it on Redbox. That's the reason why it's taken so long for me to do one of it, and because I'm lazy and again 300 Rise of an Empire, I didn't want to spend $10 on a movie that it was probably only worth about $1.50. So thank God for Redbox. My initial thought again, it's like 300 Rise of an Empire. It's the same movie ultimately, a little bit different. It's these Hispanic kids inside their house. The main character, his name's Jesse, um, finds out that he's been you know been scouted, I guess, to be a demon host or something by his neighbor that lives underneath him because they live in an apartment complex. He lives on the top floor. She lives right underneath him. And if you haven't seen the other Paranormal Activity movies, you have to watch the other ones before you watch this one. Um, First of all, I just want to point this out. I actually really enjoy the Paranormal Activity movies. I thought the first one was great. I thought the second one upped the ante. I thought the third one had more cheap scares in it. Um, and I mean, let's be honest. Anybody who saw Paranormal Activity 3, um, what I mean by cheap scares is stereotypical 80s chick jumping out in front of the fucking camera, and or the stupid turning fan panning camera, which was a bunch of bullshit. um it was the marked ones. Oh, and four, sorry, I forgot to mention four. um Four was understandably the least liked. The ending of that movie was kind of cool. Spoilers. That there, with all the women coming out and basically as a herd of wildebeest and attacks the young girl or whatever. But as for the marked ones, this was basically its chance at a fresh slate, and it kind of does that, and it kind of doesn't. It's totally new characters. You're not running into Katie or Mika from the other grouping until the very, very end of the movie. Again, spoilers. I should just start saying spoilers at the beginning of these things. Um, and the this movie, there are parts of it that I really love and there are parts of it that I really hate. First things first, the acting in these movies is always fairly decent because of the fact that they have to play real people in these situations. They can't play people who, like Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. It's, you believe he's Tony Stark. Whereas, you can't take, like, Brad Pitt and put him in something like this because it'd be too cheesy. So, um, this movie, like I said, focuses around this kid, Jesse, who just graduated high school, trying to move on with his life, growing up in the hood and whatnot, and comes across all this crap, slowly starts to develop these powers, and or it's the demon trying to, do all this stuff for him. And they use one of those Simon like touchpad hand games as like a Ouija board, which part of me thinks that that's kind of cool, and part of me thinks that that's really stupid because it's cool because it's different, but it's stupid because it's a Simon Says game. That's all I can really say about that. But um, the storyline of so hang on. So for acting, I'd give acting probably a B in the movie just because the fact that They have to act like regular people in the movie, and it's hard to act natural in a movie when, you know, it's such an unnatural storyline. So, excuse me. So that being said, the storyline is, yeah, it's a typical Paranormal Activity movie, but they do change some things. Like I said, it's a chance at a fresh slate, and that's the reason why I would give the storyline a B, because of the fact that they attempt a different. It's the same type of storyline, but with a different person. So you have a different um, X factor to it. Whereas in the other ones, they focused around the sisters Katie and Christy, and in those um, it's basically just focusing around that one family, um, and the kid Hunter and all this stuff, and it's just there's no real extra thing to it outside of that. Whereas in this one with Jesse, he's much older. It's a totally new thing. He was chosen by his neighbor, basically. He finds this shrine underneath her apartment that's got his picture on it. And it's not just him, too. It was one of his schoolmates who ends up going crazy and actually either kills himself or the demon throws him off a building, because he jumps off a building, or like I said, or the demon throws him off, and he goes straight through a car, and that actually leads me into the CGI and special effects and choreography. Um, the storyline, by the way, I give a B just because of the fact that these kids feel much more interesting than um, the people in 3 and 4. 3 and 4, everybody was kind of boring, and especially in 4, everybody just seemed like cardboard cutout like people. That was about it, except for when Katie shows up. The girl who's from all the others. Then things came in and they were kind of cool. But in this one, these kids, again, they were much more interesting. The grandma was really cool in this movie. So the storyline of this one I give a B just because of the fact that it is so different. And then it's the same, but it's different. And then the um, the choreography and the special effects in this movie are damn near flawless. Because there's one part where towards the end where they're going around and in this like barn that was in 3, and this kid is with his cousin, and they're freaking out and they're running away from all the cult members and everything, and he turns around for a second, like literally a second, and then pans back around and she's gone, and then he starts going through to another room, and then all of a sudden she just fucking flies through the ceiling and just kersplat dead on the ground. And I was really impressed by that. And then also they have a scene in the middle of the movie where, because they have a little chihuahua dog, and he's like stuck on the ceiling, and he's just like flailing around, and he's on the ceiling. He doesn't die, thank God. I cruelty towards animals in movies gets me pissed off, but he's basically just on the ceiling, and I'm sitting there just going, wow, that's a really cool effect. And the last one that I want to bring up is this part where he starts to not control his powers, but he starts to really go fucking crazy with his powers. And he sort of envelops on himself and then explodes the fuck out and blows up his grandma's living room. And that was really cool. So for this movie to have good special effects like that and not resort to cheap scares like some of the other Paranormal Activity movies do, I have to give the special effects and the scare factor an A, just for sheer fact of it's really cool. There are some parts that look stupid, like there's one part where he's on a skateboard and he does an ollie and flies over this guy and grinds down you know a rail, and that looks a little cheesy. But then there's another part where he stands up and he falls backwards, and it seriously looks like somebody's catching him. And I mean, like, there is nothing there. I'm assuming there's somebody in like a green suit who's behind him who's doing it, but I was really impressed. So I have to give CGI and like the scares. I have to give that an A just because it's just really good. So two B's and an A. This movie gets a B plus. I know it sounds weird, but especially since I said it's exactly what you expect. But this movie really does a better job in my opinion. So I give it a B plus personally, and a little bit better than average. Still kind of average to what Paranormal Activity is. But yeah, it's a good movie. Check it out. Like I said, it's for $1.50 at Redbox. Give it a shot. All right. All right. You guys have a good one. It's Twerky Whiff. Like if you liked. Subscribe if you want to subscribe. If not, fuck yourself. No, I'm just kidding. Please like my stuff. Subscribe. Please. Please.